Right. Minute is starting now. Thank you, everybody. May peace prevail on a beautiful planet.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and we have a really special show tonight. We are celebrating two birthdays. One is the great Ernest Holmes. He, of course, passed away many years ago, but he was the founder of religious science. And our beloved Reverend Jeffree Colebrook, quite a while ago, said, Scott, for my birthday, I want to celebrate Ernest Holmes. It's on the same day, January 21st. Can we do a show together? I said, of course. He said, I want to bring Marshall Lefferts in. I said, well, Marshall Lefferts, that would be very most awesome. You got me there. And he said, but I also want to bring in Lee Kemter. And I said, well, yeah, we love Lee. And they said, I really, really want to bring in Kathy Mastroianni. You don't know her, but she's great. I said, well, okay. And we got to have Guru Nam Call. So, well, okay. And then Fairy Elaine Silver wants to sing happy birthday to me. And I said, well, okay to that. And so here we are. We've got all sorts of wonderful people. And also Tatiana Speed, who will join us at 7 o'clock. She is leading her women's group right now. We also have our regulars, Desiree, who is about to do something wonderful with Omashar, and Tiara. They'll be leading our prayer time. And speaking of Omashar, my co-pilot who rescues me, he just did a few minutes ago, saves the day every time. And he's going to get us off to a rockin' and rollin' start with a beautiful musical piece, which is dedicated to you, Jeffree. And Desiree is going to be his dance and movement partner.
Desiree, there she is. Blissful stillness.
Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace. For there in the silence is peace, is joy, is vast, immense, immeasurable love. Immeasurable love. I call to my silent friend, my Lord, myself, my all. I call to the place within wherein lies the free Takeda. Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace. Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace. For there in the silence is peace, is joy, is vast, immense, immeasurable love. Immeasurable love. I call to my silent friend, my Lord, myself, my all. I call to the place within wherein lies the keys to freedom. Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace. Whoa. Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace.
We're going to go to gallery view and send love to Desiree and Omashar. And Desiree, I just saw your comment in the chat box, and I'd love for you to actually verbalize it for our audience.
Yeah, so every morning I do a meditation, actually a couple different ones. And the first one this morning, about 7:30 this morning, we were channeling like we normally do, and it's usually for the collective. And then all of a sudden, this energy came over me, and I just almost dropped to my knees, just weeping in sorrow and just hurt and pain. And I was like, what is this? And I felt just all of that, and I began to just ask for peace. And I felt everything that just wasn't of peace, and I just felt it just kind of come in, and I'm just weeping, and it was just a call for peace. And they just kept saying, be love, be love. No matter what happens, be love. Even if you get in a little shaken, just be love. And if you are the love, you're going to see so much different peace. But even if the little rough out here and we have all that stuff going on, like, be the love. And it was just so strong. But Yeah. And then
Beautiful.
I just also want to mention like Diara brought up like fire and ice, and I think we might bring that up later on our prayer. So huge thanks to her too.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for every day. You're such a wonderful example of someone who every day is quietly creating peace in the world through your meditation, through your channeling, through your work, and twice a week now on the Awakening World. So thank you, Desiree. We love you. Well, I'm have a wonderful co-host, and some of you will remember her. We highlighted her wonderful books, including Traversing the Wild Unknown, which is her newest book, and she has been one of our favorite authors that we love. And of course, I am talking about Lee Kemter. So, welcome back to the Awakening World, Lee.
Thank you, Scott. And I'm so excited to be back, especially for a birthday party.
And boy, I mean, the chat box is just lighting up with all sorts of people celebrating our beloved Reverend Jeffree. So I'm going to turn it over to you because you've got a whole birthday party planned for him.
We do, absolutely. And so so a lot of everybody here in the Awakening World community knows Jeffree. But for those of you that don't, let me say this about, he has Reverend, you'll see on his name, Reverend Jeffree Colebrook. So Jeffree is one of the kindest people I've ever met, also one of the most enthusiastic. And you guys, whenever they spotlight for the dancing tonight, you'll find that he's got some moves. You really might want to take instruction from this guy. But what I really want to say about Jeffree is happy birthday to you, dear friend. You're the best of the best. And your love for life is so contagious that I can't think of a better way to start an evening off like we're doing tonight than to have you there right in the center of it all. So happy birthday, Jeffree. Take it away because he's bringing together his friends because part of tonight's celebration, this is just typical Jeffree, he has his buddy and his name is Ernest Holmes. Now he lived over 100 years ago, but he wanted to bring his friends in to talk about that too because he has a group that has the same love for Ernest Holmes. So we have two birthdays tonight. We have Jeffree and his friend from the other side of the veil, Ernest Holmes. So take it away, Jeffree.
Oh, wow. Lee, wow. What is it? Yes, Ernest Holmes, Boy Celestial, my number one book. I went through the awakening with Ernest in that book. That's the mystic. Uh, that's the mystic version. He's amazing. He did it with his brother Fenwick. But anyhow, that's my favorite book, Boy Celestial's book. So when I wanted to celebrate Ernest's birthday, right? Uh, I I wanted to connect with some of the folks, and I went and I got Reverend Kathy, who was excited to do this because she's celebrating Ernest's birthday on Sunday, part of the archives, the Science of Mind archives, which has such a deep connection to me. I mean, the Science of Mind is one of my daily reads to do that. And Kathy was so excited and so enthusiastic. I was so happy to have her participate in it and talk about all the amazing work that she does and more about where she does it at the Unity Village to bring up the archives and talk more about the celebration of Ernest Holmes and his amazing work. Yeah, so Kathy, how do you say your last name?
Mastroianni.
I love the way she says that.
Mastroianni. You could have a little Italiano there. You got to have a pasta and some cannoli, and you're good. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I was fun to hear you say that. Anyhow, it was fun. So, can you tell us a little bit about your work and how this is evolving, having all this wonder information? As I say, I found when I went to the archives, a 1954 radio interview with Aldous Huxley talking about consciousness outside the mind. So there's some amazing things they're preserving in the archives.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jeffree. It's just an honor to be here and to meet all of you with your Global Peace Tribe, because I really am a peace gal myself. And so is Ernest Holmes. And so, what an auspicious day to celebrate his actual birthday today with you. And I'm going to take a moment, if it's okay, and share our website. So, in just a nanosecond, I can show you a treasure that you all will so relish. So, this is scienceofmindarchives.com, and we are celebrating Dr. Ernest Holmes' 139th birthday, and he is looking good, just like you are, Reverend Jeffree. It's free. All are welcome. And if you actually click, it goes to a whole nother page, which has even more information. Free to register. It'll be Sunday night. We have just some really amazing speakers and musicians, Gary Lynn Floyd, Kit Holmes, and we just added Reverend Michael Gott from Unity of Houston's coming to sing as well. Ginger Coyle. It's going to be a lovely party. I'm just so excited. We also have a silent auction, and you can go down here and click. We have auction items, a live auction, and we're going to do a special unveiling that day. It's just an annual celebration. And this website, I just wanted to show how peaceful Dr. Holmes is. And so if you just click on the search and you type in peace, it's like magic. All of a sudden you have an audio prayer on peace. I sleep in peace and wake in joy. More audio prayers on peace. And so many documents. Dr. Holmes truly was a peace man, a peaceful man. It's just, and we did recently move from the Centers for Spiritual Living home office in Golden, Colorado to Unity Village, Missouri. And might I say, there's just so many different retreats going on at Unity Village. Labyrinth walks and so much more. Now there's 3 New Thought archives there at the village, which is wonderful. We have Unity Archives, Science of Mind Archives, and International New Thought Alliance. It's really a mecca of peace and communing with our history and our roots of New Thought. And I just really encourage people to check us out and learn more.
Yeah, and I joined the archives, but I saw what was available, so I'm a member now, and I'm so grateful to be able to have that resource, Kathy. Tell me a little more about your work in the archives and what you're doing and how what you're creating it, how the resource, what's going on in the archives itself.
Oh, thank you. What great question. So I have the honor, I've been executive director for 11 years now at Science of Mind Archives. And honestly, on our Zoom, we have the founder is Reverend Dr. Marilyn Leo, who is a friend of Ernest Holmes. She has joined us tonight as well. We have his 100-year, teaching and history. We have original documents. We have photographs, and we're all digitizing it and making it available for people like you. Just at the click of a mouse worldwide, it's just phenomenal what we have available. And we're just constantly finding more treasures in the archives. And our goal is to make it available, to bring these treasures to life and to light. We're publishing books. Reverend Dr. Mark Gilbert wrote Ernest Holmes at the Asilomar. So it's his Asilomar talks that are just so sacred. You can just feel Ernest Holmes' essence and hear his voice. And it's really a sacred honor to do the work I do.
Well, I'm looking forward to being with you on Sunday night. And I hope anybody else come join us. It's going to be a great party. And I love celebrating Ernest Holmes' birthday. Thank you very much.
So fun.
Being so excited and helpful. It just happened. Everything flowed together, and your enthusiasm was well appreciated. Thank you for coming and joining us on this good. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome, and thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Appreciate it.
Well, so, one of the things about the Science of Mind, everybody might know I'm a bit of a fan of Lovevolution. I love the word Lovevolution, but I found that in a Science of Mind magazine article. And because it rang so true to the nature of science, to the nature of the unified field, that everything is moving in higher coherence from a field of higher order, which love and it's going in a direction of higher consciousness and higher coherence. So that's why I fell in love with the word Lovolution when I got it right out of the Science of Mind magazine and began sharing it, putting it on cards. And as it happens, my dear friend Guru Nam, of course, she's heard me say it many times, and decided in her haikus that she would do one with the word Lovolution, which I love to see that word spread. It's a peace word, and I just want everybody to have fun sharing that word Lovolution in art, song, music, whatever, however you like to share it, because I think it's new, so everybody has to kind of integrate it because it hasn't seen it before, and it has such a positive energy to it. That's why I fell in love with it.
Well, I must say, any of you who have been around Reverend Jeffree have heard that word Lovolution. And it's just in the last few days that I found out that he got it from the Science of Mind. I thought he created that word, printed up cards, gave them out everywhere. It's like, oh, really wants that energy put out in the world. And I have had quite a spiritual opening. My first one was in 1979, but more recently, about 3 years ago, I was on a Sufi practice that got going during the COVID years. And we were invited one day to, a haiku was read, and then we were invited to write a haiku if we felt so moved to. I started to write a haiku or two, and then, what can I say? Floodgates opened, like divine messages all the time. I'm swimming, here they come. I have no pen to write them down. I've got, some of them went back to the ethers, but a lot of them landed on pen and paper. And then I started to post them on Facebook. And so my friends were saying, oh my goodness, these are like so amazing. You've got to make a book out of these. And it's like, really? Well, now I've made 12 books out of these, because instead of a book, we decided to make it more in a monthly sort of container. And each haiku comes with a stunning image that is made by my good friend Bob Luckin, who is a CSL minister, by the way, along with his wife Judith. And they're both dear friends of mine. And I hope they get to see this. Scott, do you have the one handy that's got Lovolution to show the folks a sample? And then I'd like to share a few of my favorites. We'll also share a piece that shows all the covers.
Here.
So that's the one that shows all the covers of the 12 books that are available on Amazon. And it's got on that slide also the different themes. Each one has a different theme. So
I see now what Jeffree sent me. It was a little confusing, but I think hopefully I've got it right here. So let's try again. Is this what you're referencing?
There she goes.
That's the one about Lovolution. Yes. So that one is choice and consequence. We can create a blessed world, our Lovolution. So it all comes from our consciousness, what we choose to say, what we choose to think, what we choose to put out there. And we can create the world in our vision. So a lot of these haikus are about like tough subjects too, like human emotions and death, and because that's what we are concerned with as human beings sometimes. And some of them are all about just love and sweetness and kindness as well. But here's one of my favorites that can be a good companion in hard times. What happens at death? The soul flies home to the light. Graduation day. Now, isn't that a more happy way to consider it? Like you came, you did your work, now you've graduated, and you get to go on to what is the next thing on your soul's agenda in some other realm. Quick story, when the first book came out, I had a friend who was probably passing from this world very quickly. And so I brought the book opened to this one. Both Sides of the Veil, Arrivals and Departures. We all come to go. And it has a very beautiful image with it. And I showed that to him, and he just stared at it and like zoned out. And I was like, would you like to see another one? He goes, no, I just want to look at this one. And that was on a Saturday, and he left this planet on the next Tuesday. And I like to think that that was a comfort in his heart as he was making his transition. And I'll just read quickly a few other ones, a little more up energy. Hey, no matter what, breathe love in and breathe love out. Our best chance for peace. Divine love rains down. Throw away your umbrella. Get soaked through and through. Feel it all coming in. And this one has a real quick story to it as well. I had a big story. I'm not going to tell that here, but it was one of those things where what looked at a problem in one moment turned out to have just extraordinarily good luck consequences. And so I told that story in a women's group I was part of. And the next week, they were all saying, oh, I used that information in my life in this way, in this way. And it kept coming up week after week till I had to turn it into a haiku. You have no problems, just wise decisions to make and right steps to take. And if you can take the drama out of whatever at the moment is feeling like a big problem and just go, all right, get your divine guidance, take that moment to check in. You know, it's really good to put your hand on your heart right here and say, what do I need to know right now? And let that, make your next decision. Let that make your next action. And then you don't have any problems. So that was a big lesson in my life, and I was really happy to make it into 17 syllables for everybody to take with them. I also had the honor of inspiring another haiku artist who's on the call tonight. She really got into the energy of it. And so Fairy Lane has always got a bunch of haiku in her newsletter. And it's fun. You had one more image, Scott, I think, if you wanted to show that too. But, I'm going to read one more. Just
Go ahead and read one more, sure.
This is who we are right now. Here's a recipe to taste heaven while on earth. Play with lovely souls.
And
they all have just stunning images to go with them. And the idea is to look into the mandala or the images and let it reveal stuff to you. And then on the other page of the book is a journal writing possibility if you want to write in the book. And just what does it bring up for you? What information did it have for you? So I'll just mention one other thing. They're exactly 8 by 10. So you can take a book, take it apart, frame them, give them as gifts. It's really a happy project that I am so delighted got completed in this lifetime. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And I'm putting some of those images into our chat box. So thank you, Guru Nam. You have a delightful energy, and it's wonderful to have you on the show. And Desiree, I got so lit up. That's why I added her, because she, when she gets excited, she adds a beautiful energy.
Yes, indeed.
So, co-host Lee, what's next?
Well, we're going to have, talking about the haikus, we got Elaine Silver here, and to another member of the who is a practitioner, And I'm so glad that she came to join, because she's got a special treat for me, because I asked her and she said she would. It's really cool. But interesting story. We have another connection. There was a book, Conversations with Ernest, which I was chosen to have a section in it. And because you know how connections are made, there we go. So I gave one to Elaine, and then obviously that triggered a mystical experience. So I'll let her go on and talk a little bit about that, and finish up the our wonderful party for Ernest Holmes. And I'm glad to be part of it. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So this book showed up in my mailbox one day, and there's a lot of authors. There are like 1 or 2 pages of little conversations with Ernest Holmes, but many of the conversations they're mostly fictional. So there are different teachers and authors that have contributed to this. People like Jesus Christ and Mozart and the Pope and Albert Einstein. Lots of different people have contributed. And just interestingly enough, I am a certified Beatleologist, a musician, and I do Beatle programs. And I had just finished a compilation of my Beatles material on a CD. I was working on it, and this book comes, and I open the book to this page. So, so there's a conversation in here with Ernest Holmes and John Lennon, and it was put together by Reverend Temple Hayes. Some of you may be familiar with her. She was originally a Science of Mind minister, and she finished her, well, I don't know if she's finished, but she was with Unity in St. Petersburg for many, many years.
We love Temple, and she's been on the show many times.
Yeah, so she's awesome. So anyway, I think I can just go ahead and sing the happy birthday song I swim for an hour every morning, pretty much every morning I swim. And I get lots of songs and haiku poems too. And yeah, I can't stop writing them from time to time. They just flow. So just one morning, this song, I'm swimming and this song comes out, and I was thinking, okay, I'll write a birthday song. And it just so happens that it was a friend of mine's birthday that I was taking to lunch a couple of days later. So I thought, I guess I wrote this for Marianne, but I'm gonna sing it tonight for Jeffree and Ernest. And there's an A section, a B section, and then the A section repeats again. So if you would like to sing along, it will just be me and you because everybody's muted. So don't worry and sing along. And it's called Happy Birthday to You. Happy birthday to you. The angels danced the day you came to life. Happy birthday to you. We love to see you shining in the light. Another orbit around the sun. The rest of your life has just begun. Another orbit on planet Earth. We're so happy to celebrate your birth. Happy, happy birthday to you. The angels danced the day you came to life. Happy birthday to you. We love to see you shining in the light. Happy birthday, Jeffree and Ernest. And I have one more thing to say to the Global Peace Tribe. If you want to be seen on camera, raise your hand with the icon, and Scott will put you on, and you can wave. Wave
Yeah,
to
so I know there's a lot of people who want to celebrate Jeffree. We can't hear voices from everybody, but raise your hands electronically like we just did, and we're going to spotlight you. So there we go. There is Janine, and there is Guru Nam Khalsa, and there's Terry Dooley. How come it's not letting me? That's very strange. Here we're gonna add Jeffree. Oh, Terry doesn't have her camera on. Well, Terry, you got to turn your camera on for me to put you up there. I got all confused. Here's Andrew. Here's Eleanor Joy. Here's Matt. Here's Doug. We love Doug. There's Christoph.
That's my son. That's my boy, Larry. That's my boy,
All
Christoph.
right.
We're going to go to gallery view. Too many people have their hands up. So let's all just, in the tradition of birthdays on Global Peace Tribe, let's all just send maximum grace to our beloved Jeffree. Maximum grace for radiant health. Maximum grace that Lovolution will take place in all aspects of his life and that he will live to see it sweep the planet. Maximum grace for our beloved Reverend Jeffree Colebrook. And thank you very much, Fairy Elaine Silver, for your beautiful contribution.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. All right. Well, we're going to remove the spotlights. And I am going to now go back to Lee Emter because we have a very, very special guest tonight. And I'm really excited that he's on the show. He hasn't been on for a few years. So anyway, to introduce Marshall Lefferts and share a little bit about him. Oh, and I think, Jeffree, I'm going to keep you on because you had something you also wanted to say in anticipation of Marshall being on the show. So let me try and find you again. There you are. All right, take it away, Jeffree.
There you go. Well, first of all, I'm so glad Marshall decided to come and be here with us. But this book, Cosmometry, there you go, got it up right, there's nothing like it. It's an incredible book on the nature of reality. If there was another book even out there at all, like there's a lot of spiritual books, but there's no book that has been put together by this genius, and it's got that gets you right into the very nature of how's reality. I mean, we're all doing our spiritual stuff, but this is a new breakthrough. And of course, it comes from Nassim Harame's work. And so much of what we've come from is sprouted from that. But he took that with his genius and made it available to us. And that is amazing. And it's got pictures too, a lot of pictures. So for studying and understanding the unified model of what we live in, how the field connects all of us, how we are all one, and how that structure is in geometry, music, and consciousness, and how it all comes together. There is nothing out there, nothing like this book. If you don't want to read it, get one and pass it out. I've shared them. It's just absolutely paradigm shifting, because it's going to be the real paradigm instead of the not so real paradigm. Anyhow, my love for this book cannot get any stronger, and other than to the man, the genius who put it together for all of us. And I'm going to turn it over to Lee for a proper introduction, but I just wanted to let him know about the book.
I would say that's a pretty proper introduction. Yeah, because I share the enthusiasm that Jeffree just shared, because when I first was introduced to Marshall's work, I knew more about spirituality, but not a lot about quantum physics. And I found out later that he had actually been the president of the board for Nassim Harame's Resonance Foundation. And when I got to see the kind of courses that he was participating in producing, my world literally changed, because I have a lot of wanting to know from the mental side. Like, I don't want to be too airy-fairy. And this grounded everything. And I realized as I read Cosmometry and some of the other work that Marshall's done, projects he's been on, like some people don't even know that he was worked on one of the first books that had to do with the gene keys. So he goes back, he has a lot of different interests, and he's a beautiful musician. I'll just kind of brag on that a little bit, Marshall. But what I love about his work and his music too is that he brings us to what's inherent in us, not something we have to create or work on. It's already here. And he has a way, and I think that's what Jeffree was alluding to, it's a way to uncomplicate what can feel complex, like to have the field of everything and all that is outside space and time, and it starts to get really big, and he brings it back down into something that I can grasp and work with, and that I could drop the most important thing, my limited view of reality, and not just know the physics, but have a direct experience of that I could blend with the spirituality. So thank you for that, Marshall. I finally got to say this time. Look at the book, going, God, I wish I could meet this guy and tell him how much I love this stuff. And now I get to do it tonight. So it's great to be with you. And everybody join me in warmly welcoming Marshall to the Awakening World Show.
Thank you so much, Lee and Jeffrey. Thank you so much for that super warm and heartfelt and yummy introduction coming into this tonight. And happy birthday, Jeffrey. I love you so much. Ernest Holmes might be 139, but I know you're 138 and you're looking great. Actually, I think Jeffrey's like around 80, and I'm just like, I want to look like that and feel like that and act like that when I get up there. So bless you, my brother, and thank you so much for all your love and support for years now. Yeah. And that the haiku was so beautiful. I haven't written haiku, but my claim to fame is I live in haiku in Maui. And so it's a nice way to celebrate that tradition and this living experience. It's really wonderful to be here with everybody. And I'll share a little bit about my book, Cosmometry, and also what I'm evolved into since publishing that book. It came out in 2019, so it's been around for a little while. And it's the culmination of a number of decades, really pretty much 40 years of preparation that went into that, and started when I became aware of the work of Buckminster Fuller when I was 19 years old. And I actually got to meet Bucky Fuller, amazingly enough, in 1979, 1980, maybe it was at that point. And so I really took in Buckminster Fuller's his premise about the times we're in and the importance of really understanding the nature of the universe. And he codified some of that in a system he called synergetics, which is the geometry that he really teased out, which has some very fundamental aspects that are very important for people to know. And unfortunately, still, I think most of academia hasn't really recognized it yet. And then I also have spent a lot of time in nature. I have a cabin in northern New York State, and being in nature gave me the opportunity to observe. And I call myself more of a pattern recognition person than I'm not a technical scientist. And so my book is not a technical science book. It's really more about a pattern recognition and concept. And as Jeffrey said, it's very fully illustrated. So everything that is pertinent to show has an image relevant to it. But nature showed me some really fundamental aspects of how energy dynamics form into patterns that I've studied for a long time. And the cover of my book has this double spiral sunflower pattern on it. And that's one of the most fundamental ones in there that is really expressed all throughout nature. And about 20 years into this 40-year journey, I had the great pleasure of meeting two of my mentors, Foster Gamble, who created, along with Kimberly Gamble, the Thrive films, for which I also was a producer. And then Nassim Haramein, who was mentioned and who maybe everybody here knows. He's an independent physicist that when I heard him speak for the first time, and he was talking about Buckminster Fuller and his geometry and the torus dynamic and things that I was aware of, not being a physicist, I didn't really know fully what he was saying, but I just knew he was right. I was really like, I don't know, but this guy really seems like he's right. So I really started paying attention. And as Lee said, I ultimately became friends and then president of the board of his Resonance Science Foundation, which now has morphed into what they call International Space Federation. They're based over in Switzerland and France now. And Nassim's physics is called unified physics because he has, especially in these more recent years, with his latest papers, he's literally unified the quantum, the tiny little stuff, with the big cosmological scale stuff, the relativistic physics. And he literally has unified it into one elegant model that is different than the mainstream model, which scares the heck out of them because it obsoletes a lot of their ideas and their budgets and things. But the beauty of it is that it's really elegant and simple when you get to understand the model that it's based on. It's wonderfully simple. And so in my book, I bring in the Buckminster Fuller's kind of fundamental ideas about the geometry of the 0-point field, and Nassim's fundamental ideas about the geometry and the 0-point field and the torus dynamic, and then this double spiral pattern. And then Lee also mentioned I'm a musician, so I have knowledge of the system of music, and which is a 12-tone system in our Western musical scale, which is quite ubiquitous as well. And interestingly enough, that picture all fit together at one point in my mind. I just suddenly saw how Bucky Fuller's geometry and Nassim's model of physics and the system of music all came into unity. And that synthesis is what I present in my book. And the kind of the fundamental essence of that model is that what we're really talking about, as we all know here, is that we live in a universe that is based on vibration. It's based on frequency, resonance, coherence, and dissonance. You have to include dissonance because resonance and dissonance are really interactive, compatible friends in music. And that when we have that understanding, it illuminates not only, like the sense that as we, in a more spiritual context, like to talk about vibes and frequency and raising our vibration and things like that. And it's all quite literally true. Along with that comes an expanded understanding that we have the ability to use those scientific principles to our benefit. And that's really what Nassim is all about. And his latest work is in the physics and in engineering and application development is, it's just so breakthrough. It really is going to be a major piece of this paradigm shift. And I think very soon. By the way, he has a book that's going to be coming out soon called Unified that I've been able to read as a preview. It's incredible. So look for that as well. And that with the understanding of this vibratory nature of the universe, we come to realize that I eventually, after I wrote my book, I was like thinking about what is it I'm going to do next. And I this little voice in my head said, do you remember what you wrote about in your book about how the whole cosmic, dynamic of phenomenon is harmonically organized, that it's vibratory, it's interactive, and therefore it's harmonically organized. And how important that is for the world to really understand that this harmonic nature is really, in essence, I would say that the core paradigm underneath it all. And this is the beauty of, when we understand music, it's all about a harmonic experience and creation and interaction. And that with that understanding of the harmonic nature of the universe comes, first of all, the profound insight about how the universe actually works. We have the physics, we have the mechanics of it. And what I would say is it wasn't missing, it just wasn't really kind of being fully sort of recognized and addressed, especially in academia, is that the relational aspect of all those dynamics of sound and light and vibration and information and consciousness is the relational, is the harmonic nature. And when we come to understand that, we understand the fundamental nature of ourselves spiritually as these vibrational harmonic beings. Therefore, our responsibility as harmonic beings is how do we harmonize inside of ourselves and in the world. And how do we, in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies, we harmonize our own bodies. We harmonize our hearts and our minds and bring them into coherence. And then we extend that into the world. It's an imperative and a responsibility when we actually come to understand it. And on the complementary side of that is then the scientific principles and literally the power we gain that is the same power that creates all things in the universe. And that's the power of harmonic principles being applied to create new technologies that are based on frequency and resonance, coherence, whether using sound or light or other kinds of vibrational systems, that we have the ability to apply that in such a way, and this is the beautiful part of the whole thing, is that we literally can bring harmony to Earth. Not just, this has been the perennial quest of the spiritual traditions forever. Peace and harmony, bring harmony to the world. Well, we actually know how to literally do that through the principles scientifically and the applications that we can then bring into the world that I'm quite convinced we already have, because many people have been doing this for a long time already, thankfully, that we have solutions to all the major problems in the world, including agriculture and energy, even nuclear waste remediation. There are already existing technologies that can deal with these massive problems. And so there's a consciousness shift that needs to happen in the world to embrace this paradigm of science and a paradigm of the nature of reality. It's beautifully simple, and that it's really becomes an imperative to do so, because it's really, in my mind, the best option we have, and I call it the harmonic option. And it's the best option we have right now to bring this into the world, both spiritually and scientifically, which in my worldview, there's no difference between them. That was a made-up fiction a long time ago. Science and spirit, will they ever get along? Well, how could they not? How could they ever have been separated? So when we come to understand this fully, the science of mind, somebody even reminded me the other day that the Vatican is one of the most scientifically based religious organizations in the world. They have telescopes and experiments and all this stuff. I'm like, oh yeah. So I have recently released a journal called Harmonic Science Perspectives, which is to begin to establish this field, to promote it in the world, make people aware of it and become familiar with the concepts and ideas, so that we can really ground it in at this time and bring in this paradigm as quickly as possible, because we're in rather dynamic times, shall we say. And when we bring this into the world, it will truly and deeply and fully establish a harmonizing peace in the world that we all have in our ideal here, and we hold it in our bodies, in our hearts, in our minds together. And now we know how to bring it in such a way that we can pragmatically make the shift in the world into that state for all life. And so that's my brief introduction for now. We're going to have a little Q&A and we'll extend this conversation as we go. But Thank you again for having me on and sharing this with everybody tonight.
Marshall, I definitely want to take people briefly to your websites. So for everybody who's watching on Facebook and YouTube, welcome. And the website where you can learn all about the book is Cosmometry. I'm going to spell it.
Cosmometry.
Cosmometry. Thank you very much. I should have done that. COSMOMETRY.com. Cosmometry.com. And you can get the book on Amazon. And there it is.
It's the only place. It's print on demand, so it's the only way to get it. And it makes it possible for me to get it out worldwide.
But you also have it on Kindle, I see.
Yes.
Which is good, which is a good thing.
Kindle for the desktop.
Absolutely. And then the other website that I know that was shared with us, tell us a little bit about harmonic-science.org.
If you would scroll to the top, the other way, there you go. So Harmonic Science Alliance is a organization, a scientific organization, and I have a complementary spiritual organization called Harmonic Alliance. And this one is to build the global alliance of harmonic science to be able to bring this scientific paradigm into the world, to bring the applications into the world, bring education about it into the world. And this is a very simple launch site focused on the right there is the journal. You're just scrolling away from it, but that's the journal. And I just published in December called Harmonic Science Perspectives. It has a number of fantastic articles from authors who have been steeped in the harmonic science world for a long time. And yeah, there's just the homepage here. If you scroll down now, Scott, it just talks about bringing harmony to Earth through harmonic intelligence. These 3 pillars of inspiring by bringing awareness to it, integrating it into society, and innovating new solutions and applications. And this quote I like to say, we have a choice, a spiritual mandate to enact, to consciously make the shift from causing harm to causing harmony. Doesn't, in some ways, get any simpler than that.
Wow.
So you can, if you click on the image of the journal really quick, Scott, start reading. Right there is a digital flip book of the whole journal for free. And you can go in, read the whole thing, pop it open full screen, and scroll through the whole thing. So help yourselves. And I'd love to hear anybody's feedback. You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much. Well, in a moment, we're going to bring up your colleague, Nama, and he's going to share about his work. But you've got a couple of other wonderful colleagues. So I want to acknowledge a couple of celebrities that are in the audience. You talked about the International Space Federation. Dr. Kat Lewis is with us. And Kat actually has been on the show quite a bit recently because she is doing incredible work. Her understanding of the science of how love heals is extraordinary. So I want to acknowledge Kat. I've also been attending every Sunday her 3-hour program, trying to wrap my brain around what she has discovered and uncovered. So welcome back to the Awakening World, Kat.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was muted. Yeah, thank you for having me. And like Marshall, my work is all based off of Nassim's science too.
Yeah, well, definitely during our Q&A portion, I would love to have you come on board. And we also have Karina Angela. And Karina Angela, again, an amazing author. We've had her on the show many, many times. And I got to show this because I think it's so powerful. Karina has been working with Nikola Tesla. And I just today saw this amazing image of Karina with Nikola Tesla and another dear friend above her. So this is like an amazing gathering of our favorite science and spirituality coming together, authors.
Everybody's coming out of the woodwork.
That's a beautiful photo.
Yeah, I asked my chat, chat GPT, I was like, create a photo for me, please. And that's what it spit out. I was like, okay, I like it. So it
Wow.
was, actually, it was amazing.
Very, very cool.
Very
Welcome, Kat.
having
And
fun with it.
we're going to bring up Nama, and he's going to share a little bit, and then we're going to go into a Q&A, and would love to engage you during, especially the second Q&A period after Tatiana Speed provides us with some music. But I'm going to go to Lee to introduce Nama.
Hey.
Yay.
Yeah, this night just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
It does.
This is pretty incredible. So now I get to introduce Nama. And I met Nama through also through Nassim's work, because we're in a group and he has this beautiful way of really taking in. I say a lot of the science, because Nama can talk more about the physics than I could ever even begin to talk about. But the thing that he's done is he looks at the physics, the spirituality, the biology, the psychology, and a lot of ancient teachings. And he's spent time in Egypt. He's really and he has personal practices. And from that, he's created what he refers to as a map. But the map is this is what I'll let him explain what this means. The map reveals the unified human, which is kind of a play off the words, the unified physics, and how like consciousness and matter and spirit, love, cosmology, all this stuff is part of just this one continuous field. And he's working on integrating that into the body so that his students can have the visceral experience. That's what I love about everything we're talking about tonight. It's not out there, it's not up here in the head to learn and wonder about and all that. It's how to ground it into life. So let's welcome, we're actually also welcoming back Nama. I know he's been on the show many times, but for those who don't know him, welcome Nama back to the Awakening World Show.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And happy birthday, Jeffrey. And hello to everyone once again. Um, this is a beautiful, I love the energy right now. And so I guess I'll start off by saying, um, if you can't tell by now, we're all tapped into the same field, the same information. And it's coming through everyone, not just us, but everyone in a unique way. And I think soon everyone around the planet will be having conversations like this in some way, because it's an intuitive knowing that's coming to the surface through our own being. But a little about me, um, my kind of journey of pondering this type of thought form and these type of deep intuitive thoughts about the universe actually started when I was 5. I should say that I used to have, not used to, but I still do have dreams that seem to be like an advanced deja vu, or me dreaming something that hasn't happened yet. And then it happens in real life, and kind of like dreaming the future. And that was the first thing that sparked me to think, like, what is going on here? There's something more to life going on. And fast forward, those were always thoughts in the back of my mind, but ended up studying audio engineering and a little bit of physics in college, dealing with music and audio. And that brought me deeper into frequency and harmonics, kind of how Marshall was just alluding to. And but also at the same time, life's experience. I was going through life's experience and being introduced to people like Edgar Casey, and going through things personally and trying to figure out, how does this all apply to my life? What do I do with all this? And how do I apply this, or how do I figure this out? Is this a suffering? Is this a joyful thing? Going through all the emotions of life. And but I knew intuitively that it was a miraculous thing happening. And I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, guys. Those are my children, and they got in here somehow. But anyway, the college actually brought me through. I'm sorry. You gotta back up, Michigan. Okay? I'm sorry.
We love them, Nama.
I know. They're beautiful souls, and they're just trying to laugh and play. But so college and frequency and life brought me to just choosing that path and figuring it out. And around when I started to figure it out, meaning apply things in my life and learning what these signals were telling me personally, I got introduced into energy healing, just things as I started to align myself, the reality started to show synchronicity to give me exactly what I needed. And during that time, I got introduced to Nassim's work, and similar to how Marshall heard him speak, I knew it was true because it was everything I was experiencing and everything that I was going through spiritually, and I could see the correlations. It just lit up for me. And it gave me a language to start to explain things that were mystical and things that were happening in my life. And um, then went a deep dive into the physics, deep dive so that I can articulate what I'm going through spiritually. Meaning, even when you travel outside of the body and you have dreams of time that hasn't happened yet, and you have um, relationships that seem to heal or that you make good choices about, that you learn lessons from. All of these things have to do with coherence dynamic of one's own being, of one's own their mental, their emotional, and their physical expression as one unit. Because sometimes these aspects can be um, disharmonious or decoherent in a way. That doesn't mean that it's bad from what I learned. It's just a process of transitioning into different states of coherence. And all these things can be mapped out and explained and simplified to where the spirit becomes in the center and the science becomes in the center and the body becomes understood as the same dynamic that's happening at the Planck or the quantum scale or the cosmological scale when we look out into the stars, when we look out into the vacuum of space, to understand at the center of every proton in our body is the same vacuum. And that everything else is just wave interaction in between of the same thing is just a very enlightening thought process. And it unifies not only universe and science and spirit, but it unifies us as humans living together. And so I knew that the most important thing, not the most important thing, the most important thing for my role was to um, explain and teach how to come into coherence of oneself and how to look at your relationship to others. But that first starts with understanding how energy flows through the body and understanding where the self stops and starts. And it turns out it doesn't stop or start anywhere. It just keeps going. And so you can drop a lot of limitation. And with the physics of spirit, that's what that body of content. Well, throughout this year, we'll be releasing courses and things of that nature, but you focus on the mechanics, and then that gives you a groundwork to focus on how does the energy biofield work and what are chakra systems and how does the coherence look. And it's unique to every person, But once every person understands the dynamic of the individual intuitively can bring coherence to their self. And that's what I call the unified human, when one understands their own mechanics and understands their relationship to others and the cosmos. So I teach right now quantum heart coherence, which actually allows you to visualize. We've heard of heart coherence, but quantum heart coherence, and it's probably similar to things that Kat teaches. We come from the same science, but there's a depth of understanding you get when you understand that the self extends into the 0 point energy field. And there's another layer of coherence that can happen when you are able to visualize down to that level and back up through the cosmos, and how the biological system sits in between that and how it influences those levels. You can then, in a very intentional way, direct how you couple to this field and how you access information and how you want to express and live your life. It becomes, in a way, limitless, because you know from what's relevant to you, you can create and be pretty much anything that you put your mind to from that state of being. And I'm looking forward to and honored to be here with you all, and Marshall and Karina and Kat and Jeffree, and I would love to be a part of this Q&A. We could go even deeper into this.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nama.
Yes, of course.
We're going to have a very dynamic conversation. The second half of the show is going to be all Q&A. We'll start with Nama and Marshall and Lee, then we'll be bringing Kat and Karina, then of course any questions and comments from the audience. But I think it's time for a little bit of music. Tatiana Speed is in the house, and so in a moment, Tatiana, I'm going to bring you up. And you were specifically requested, Marshall Lefferts specifically requested for you to be with us tonight. So, and of course, we all love you very much. We'll see Tatiana in just a moment. But I know a lot of new people are with us tonight, and I just want to invite all of you to join the Global Peace Tribe. We do these shows twice a week, always on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And sometimes we do extra shows on a Sunday, a Sacred Sunday show, or a Making Contact extra show. We do a lot of stuff around with Danny Sheehan and Alan Steinfeld and all of our friends in the disclosure and UFO UAP world. A lot of stuff, as you can see, on science and spirituality. And we always have music along with our shows, which kind of, we get this deep conversation from people like Nama and Marshall, and then we need a little music to move and groove and kind of integrate it all. So it's a unique format that we have. And I want to invite all of you who are new to join us. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and click register for the new season. That will take you to our registration page, and it takes about 2 minutes. And then you'll get the Zoom room links to all of our shows through the end of March of this year. We've got amazing shows planned. So please join us. It's a great community of people. We've all kind of gotten to know each other. We support each other. We do prayer. And we'd love to have you join us. I'll also put the link into the chat box of how you can join for those of you that are actually in the Zoom room right now. And with that, I'm going to hopefully find Tatiana. I know she came in.
I'm here.
There she is. Yay. And how did it go? You're teaching your Wednesday night women's group now, yeah?
I am. I just finished. So I just scooted from there over to here, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you.
And your mama is in the audience. I saw Lorianne came in.
My mama in the audience?
She's somewhere in here. So We've been celebrating Ernest Holmes' birthday, Reverend Jeffree's birthday, learning all about science and spirituality. And it's wonderful to have you in a perfect backdrop. Tatiana, for anybody who doesn't know, is one of our most popular musical artists. She's on the show quite frequently. She's also part of the Evolutionary Leaders Network Synergy Circle for the new generation. And she's also leading women's groups now. She has a brand new album out, Lullabies for Adults, which is what I use to go to sleep at night, much better than melatonin. So anyway, Tatiana, it's great to have you with us, and take it away.
Aw, thank you for having me. Thank you, Marshall, for inviting me here. I'd love to connect with you. And I'm so glad that, yeah, I could it's been a very exciting evening. I'm coming in with a lot of the beauty and love that was just generated in the women's circle. I was just leading, and so it's wonderful to be here to share that with all of you. Maybe I could just invite us just to take a breath and use this moment just to land in our bodies, land in our hearts. I know you're probably already very steeped in that, but just feeling the power of these gatherings, of these networks of us light workers congregating around consciousness, around the open heart, around the power of who we truly are. And just breathing into our heart and letting our heart open even more. The song that's coming that I'm feeling inspired to share is called Warrior of Love. And that is what I truly feel and see in all of you. This capacity to choose love and unity and truth in a world that's divided, that is constantly pulling us off our axis, that's challenging us to be true. Can you hear me better now if I come closer, Carol? I don't know why my volume's low. Can you hear me okay, Omashar?
It's just fine, sweetie.
Okay, great. Yeah, to choose this path when the world is giving us such a different message, to me, is the path of the warrior of love. To be the light that we are, to shine it. And I feel like we're on this spiral journey of remembering deeper and deeper and deeper who we actually are, shedding the conditioning, the layers of programming from our families and cultures that maybe taught us we were small or incapable or unworthy, or that we can't or shouldn't, or all the different ways we're programmed. It's like opening that up to our divinity and our beauty and our power and our love and what we're here to share. And so this song is also an activation of that remembering. And so this is Warrior of Love. Warrior of love, do you remember why you came? Warrior of love, awaken to your true name. Set your heart on fire and let it burn. Warrior of love, we are waiting for your return. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Shiva is this great warrior of love who really embodied this mountain strength. So I invite you to sing this mantra with me, and we invoke that pure masculine consciousness, that unwavering clarity of the heart. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya. Warrior of love, do you remember why you came? Warrior of love, awaken to your true name. Set your heart on fire and let it burn. Warrior of love, we are waiting for your return. Warrior of love, set your heart on fire. Let it burn. For all that you love, for all that you're put on this earth to protect, to uplift, for all that you came here to be. Remember, remember, remember who you are. If anyone wants to share in the chat what you want to remember about who you are, I'll weave it into the song. Who are you really? Shivaya, Shivaya. Shivaya, Shivaya. Feel the rumble in your belly, feel the fire in your heart. Thank you all, warriors of love. Activate.
Let's start by going to gallery view and sending some beautiful twinkles of love and appreciation to our beloved Tatiana. And while you're doing that, there are some wonderful comments. She asked, remembering who we are. Omashar writes, a waterfall of peace and harmony. Susan Blomquist writes, wave and particles. Tiara writes, peace flows through my veins as I remember I am love. For us all, this is. Beatrice remembers that she is a being of light with zero limitations. Marshall.
Scott. I didn't realize that the chats were coming in because I was on a different, I think I was on our chat. Can I just weave some of these in quickly? Because I totally
I
didn't know they were coming. I was wondering. I was like, why isn't anyone writing in the chat? What is happening?
Yeah, weave them in.
Okay, where does it start? Okay, wait.
Hey, well, I'll let you find it.
All right, Warriors of Love. We're gonna go one more round here because I want to weave your beautiful voices. Infinite soul, I am you. Infinite soul, I am you. Infinite, eternal, ever-present, blissful awareness. I am you, I am you. Remember, I want to remember our connectedness. Remember, I want to remember the Bodhisattva of peace. We are warriors of light, warriors of love. We are warriors of light, warriors of love. We are pure light of the universe of love and ecstasy. What does that say? Emanating light with zero limitations flowing through our veins. There's a lot. Oh my God. It keeps going and going. Okay, maybe I'll skip to. I know you have limited time, Scott. A halo of sound and being. We are remembering we are warriors of love. Peace flows through my veins as I remember I am love. For us all this is. Peace flows through my veins as I remember I am love. For us all this is. Yay.
We're going to go to gallery view another time. So much love, so much And so many beautiful comments coming into the chat box. So thank you for always inspiring us, Tatiana. You are such a beautiful source of inspiration. And to get more of Tatiana, of course, she's on the Awakening World frequently, which is a blessing. And she's also, you'll see her on the Connection Field and a lot of our other community groups. But her website is her name, TatianaSpeed.com. And so you can get this amazing new album. I strongly recommend it. Lullabies for Adults. It's such a beautiful way to conclude an evening listening to Tatiana's voice. Oh, such a blessing. So do support her, support the album. And we love you so much, Tatiana. Thank you for blessing us tonight.
Thank you, Tatiana. So happy you came tonight. Thank you.
Well, we are going to roll into Q&A time. So, of course, here's Marshall, and here's Lee, and let me find Nama. And I think maybe we'll start with you guys, with the three of you having a chat. Then I'd love to bring in Karina, Kat, and any questions or thoughts from the audience. So here we go. Let's learn and discover and explore our ideas together.
Great.
Yeah. So as we get going, it really looks like you two both have sort of a synergistic thing going between like the kind of work that you do, because you allow people to embody what you're talking about. It's not about teaching physics. It's not about so that people walk away and they can check off a box. Yes, I can tell you what the unified field is. So what was it that you were able to do where you could begin to actually own and personify, feel the field as a part of you, not as this at the field that's all around you, but the field that's around you and inside of you as well. So either one of you can go with that one.
I'll jump in to start. Just immediately came to mind right around the same time that I became exposed to Buckminster Fuller's work. I was in my first year of college, and they were teaching a class in Aikido, which I had not heard of Aikido before. And so absolutely beautiful, remarkable martial art. The name Aikido literally means the way of harmony with the life force. I is the way, Ki is the life force, and Do is the practice or the way, the practice of it. And what they taught to me at that time, and I just had literally like a week before my a spiritual awakening experience when I was 19. So I was like freshly like popped open and pretty ripe for whatever was coming my way. And so they taught about the dantian in the belly, the what they called the 1 point in the belly, or sometimes it's called the hara. And it's this energetic point just below our belly button in the center of our bodies. There's another middle dantian and upper dantian in the head and the upper heart. And how to bring our attention into that center point, relax everything in our bodies, and then radiate Ki energy. And then also, because Aikido as a martial art is a very dynamic, spiraling, fluid, flowing martial art. It's not about hitting at all. It's about entering in, merging, blending with, redirecting, and neutralizing or harmonizing. And so it's all this spiraling toroidal field flow dynamic. And those two things, the center point and the spiraling flow pattern, just gave me this awareness about what also Nama said, that when Nassim spoke, he was talking about these things that went back a long way. I was like, wait a minute, this is really foundational to how the universe is operating. And so I really am so grateful for that, because it established my initial relationship with what became the scientific aspect in the embodiment in the body and having this amazing visceral experience of how much power we get when if we drop our attention into our bellies and orient and center ourselves there, we become extremely stable, like phenomenally stable. And so that was my initiation into the awareness of the embodiment, which then grew over time into greater and greater understanding through the science.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I would say and it may happen in stages for people, but it was stages for me. It started with synchronicity in my own life, seeing patterns, and the biggest pattern was 11/11 back in 2008, and that just sparked a deep curiosity because it went from a very morbid belief or trying to figure things out to a something's there. And that leads you through a process of searching. And the first time where I actually had like a deep conscious out of body experience was when I was in college and I started to read Edgar Cayce readings, trying to figure because I that was a wealth of information that explained things in a way I haven't ever accessed. And um, getting to a point where you're reading Edgar Cayce readings and you're starting to feel what he's saying. And I there was an experience where I went into the field, if you will, of because he alluded to how there is no end to you and your mind body complex and the field of the universe. And it was language I've never heard before. And it launched me into this knowing that was you cannot unknow that or go back from that. And then similar to what Marshall was saying, when it actually solidified in me to where it becomes coherent, where you can express it in your life, was when I learned how to apply those concepts in the body through in the heart, understanding what the heart, being able to conceptualize what I've been going through my whole life, and then being able to know that there are mechanics in a way to personally intend to move this energy and to make it coherent in all of my life patterns, including my health, my physical. And that was when in 2018 when I started um, through synchronicity was guided to teachers that taught energy work and the depth of different aspects of the field and aspects of our own field and how to go into that into heart coherence mainly. And I would say you can't separate um, that aspect of coming into coherence from coming into coherence with your life view of the world. Because it's going to happen simultaneously. If you're going to awaken to the structure of reality, then the relationships and your relationship to your life and reality is going to have an upheaval of transition. And it all happened at once for me, where I learned the harmonic patterns, and they directly correlate to how you view yourself in life.
I read recently, when you just said the harmonic patterns, I read recently that there's an uptick in people being interested in Pythagoras's music of the sphere, the music of the spheres. So instead of like everybody thinks that he's all about triangles, but what people are searching for right now is the music of the spheres. I mean, I have my hypothesis for that, but you two guys, I'd like to hear what you think. Why now all of a sudden there's this interest in this cosmological, but can also be brought down to this level, but the music of the spheres from a guy who was talking about it, 2000, over 2000 years ago.
Yeah. Now, may you want to start with that?
Okay. I'll be brief and then Marshall can go. But I think what's happening right now is what's happening with us personally is actually a reflection or a fractal of what's happening cosmically and planetarily in the planetary system and solar system. And we're starting to realize that we're not isolated and we're evolving with the whole system. The whole system is having a rush of consciousness and awareness. And of course, we will as a cell within that or a fractal within that system. And I think a lot of information that we are coming aware to is just it's an awakening of a whole dynamic and system, a whole coherent planetary system coming into harmonic coherence with the structure of reality all the way up and all the way down. And I'll let Marshall go in more detail if he has more insight.
Man, you just said everything I was going to say. I mean, literally, just about literally said everything. I was like, because no, and this is the beauty of it, and why that's true is, Lee, you mentioned this uptick in this interest, and I started working on this harmonic science 5 years ago, and it wasn't things harmonic were, around, but not really popping up that much. And in the past year, it's just been bam, 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 and coming in through AI and everything. And it's made me, as you just said, I realize when I call in the scientific aspect harmonic science a true paradigm rather than a new paradigm, because it's the oldest paradigm in the universe, really. And when in our experience of the system of the world comes into this phase where it's the dynamics of evolution are so extreme right now that it's some of this internal and external pressure that is I would say, for lack of a better word, forcing coherence to come into the world. It's just like so strong, which is a beautiful thing. And so into what Nama was just saying, it's like when the time is right and the circumstances are ripe, this is what happens in a world. And it's inevitable that it happens because it's the only place you can end up going ultimately. And so, when we bring it consciously the way we are here, talking about it and embodying it and sharing it together, that establishes it in coherence more and more in the world and stabilizes it. And at the same time, it's like there's just these harmonic waves are just flowing in, and it could be the cosmological, the solar system, the galactic, influences could well be just penetrating and really infusing these harmonic resonances into the solar system and into the Earth's magnetic field and into the noosphere and into each of us, and shaking the whole thing in the meantime, because what's not that isn't going to be able to stick around for very long. And so it's it's really kind of a beautiful phenomenon to witness is happening this way.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, so same here. Yeah, it's funny because I can feel the synergy you guys have tonight. Like you're talking about the same thing, from your own perspectives. But I really love that.
Yeah.
I had a question somebody asked me recently. They were saying, people keep saying from the spiritual community that all you have to do is radiate your own frequency, and that is enough to shift everything because that energy goes into the field. And they were saying, but I still don't get, I'm doing that every day, every day, every day, but am I just wasting my time because nothing's changing? So could you guys address that?
Well, the funny thing is, like when we say nothing's changing, I think you're referring to what we are, fed through the media to supposedly believe to be reality, which is the farthest thing from real reality because it's a very fictitious, contrived version of what the human mind uh, has come up with. And it's very distorted. It was based on distortion to begin with. And so when uh, when such a distorted system grows, it gets to the point where it becomes too big, too complex, and too made up that it can't sustain itself. And so what we're seeing from that view of, the world is just it's like a theater playing out. Unfortunately, it's a very dangerous one in many ways, and it's very painful to watch in many ways, and it's very sad, and it's part of the awakening because we have to, as Nama said, you have to feel the whole emotional experience of the awakening through and through. Sometimes it's painful and sad, and especially with what these things in the world are, doing and what we're seeing. And to your question, um, absolutely, because the nature of the field in this quantum field is, you know, it is harmony, and the universe is doing just fine. Thank you very much. We humans are pretty wobbly, but the field is very, very strong and powerful and stable. The field of nature, even though it's highly impacted right now, is incredibly strong and resilient. And so every one of us that practices our embodiment and brings that coherent stability is unquestionably stabilizing and cohering the field. And so to not let that external play and theater suggest otherwise, because it can sometimes overwhelm our emotions and even our minds, just incomprehensible, Um, and and so yeah, just to really fully own it that we are in that coherent, stable field, and we are stabilizing it together.
Yes. Yes, and to your friend, it's always good to be aware of what scale or what relative reality are you focusing on, and where do you get the observation that nothing is changing. If you scale out, I mean, there's lots of change going on in different ways, and if it's a specific thing you're wishing for in your life, um, but what one way to sustain a reality is to truly embody what it is and be aware if where you're coming from, because this is a big topic of people wanting to manifest a reality. But what goes into that is the environment stable enough or coherent enough to sustain the type of reality you want? Meaning, if you're injured and you want to walk, or there's a process of that you have to get your body, you have to do certain things to be in a state to facilitate what it is. There's always a process, and to understand the flow and the functioning, how you can flow with the universe and to kind of direct your pattern to end up in what you are becoming and manifest in the now. Not to be how this is confusing, but all that plays a role in why something isn't manifesting the way that you intended it. It doesn't mean that it's not manifesting the way that it should. And there's always things to be aware of that are variables in how a certain result can manifest. And another point to that is actually when you scale out of what you're focused on, you see that everything is functioning as it should. Kind of like Marshall was saying, it's solid and everything is actually in a state of coherence. And I like to reference the body as a metaphor for these type of concepts, because sometimes the body will get sick, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the body. It's actually a phase transition or a process the body learning or actually becoming more resilient. And during the process of being sick, if you zoomed into where the injury is or the sickness is, it may look very chaotic. But when you scale out, I mean, there's bacteria. Even if you look at the bad bacteria or the bad part of the sickness, from that perspective, it's surviving and thriving, and it needs to find its coherence. And there's a cause and effect of its purpose that pushes the body into its purpose. And they all find this harmonious relationship. But depending on how you're looking at it, it may look a certain way. And so when you scale out, you'll start to see that everything is going to move into a coherent state one way or another. And you can then your judgment of the situation changes and you start to see, okay, where's my role? And it's more so seeing how you fit into it and how you can evolve your role in within the larger scale of the system. And then you'll find more coherence in figuring out how to choose and what it is you should be focusing on and what's relevant. And you'll find out there's actually a limitless um, choice to that when you find that true perception.
Yeah, I love that because what blends with what Marcia was saying is there's trust in this bigger field, and we're programmed to be worried about this. We've been programmed since we're little kids to worry about every little ache and pain and worry about what's going on all around us, and we haven't been trained to the wholeness. And what Marshall writes about in Cosmometry, that beautiful harmonious world we live in. We're not trained to see the harmonious aspect of our world. We're just grabbing all the chaotic pieces and getting into fear. And that's again programming. So, yeah.
I want to come in. There's some wonderful questions from the audience. Also, if Karina or Kat or anybody else wants to come on, do the little thing of raising your hand so that I can see that. And the first question actually gives us a chance to go to Nama's website. And his website is ageof11.com. And Zach in our audience is asking, why age of 11? What does that mean?
Age of 11. So I would say that numbers actually have a meaning to them, meaning everything is connected, everything is a fractal. One is the beginning or the oneness, the unification of everything. And 11 would represent the amplification of that, the first master number. What happens in wave patterns or harmony, there's cycles, and everything goes through a reiterative, a repeated cycle. And 11 would represent after the integration of a previous cycle, you have to start new with everything you've learned. But now this is a new experience, and this is a new experience with a lot of wisdom. It represents a new state of being. So age of 11, but I feel like even that's the time we're living in, where we're transitioning from a stage of lots of wisdom that we have to integrate and begin anew.
And Carol Craig says, I'm loving your website, and it is a beautiful website. So I want to encourage everybody to go to ageof11.com and really explore some of the wisdom of Nama. And there's a lot of really beautiful, if you click explore, it takes you to some amazing places. So highly recommended. Here's a question from our birthday boy, Reverend Jeffree. And I've got about 6 questions for you now that have come in. Reverend Jeffree asks, since there is true nature of reality or true paradigm that is harmonically based, why is it so hard for humanity's collective mind to understand this truth?
Well, you know, as I was saying, that the kind of the current out there facing back to us world um, has a history to it that decided to dictate a path for humanity, and that dictated path has a lot of distortion in it. And so and then as evolution, as society progressed, technology progressed, and we started to get, the universe works by having a feedback loop. We just saw on Nama's website the toroidal field, and that's a feedback loop dynamic that creates resonance, coherence. And when it's healthy, the feedback and information flow is balanced and true and healthy and inspiring. It's resonating. And what we ended up getting primarily in this modern era is a very distorted feedback loop. And of course, we didn't know that when we were young, growing up and watching TV and movies. And eventually, things just didn't feel right and it didn't sound right. And because I had a spiritual awakening experience when I was a fairly young age, I quickly saw that the human society was very contrived and very distorted. And so then I started looking for, well, where's the good stuff? Where's the stuff I really want to know? So to your question, Jeffrey, in large part it's because you could say the collective mind of humanity has been a bit duped and has been a bit misled and has been distorted. And the beauty of the time we're in is that the kind of the evidence, the evidential distortion is getting so blatant that people that weren't questioning before are questioning now. And just the questioning alone is the trigger to open consciousness and to really uh, allow something greater to come in. And that something greater coming in is everything we're talking about here, because it's the fundamental nature of reality. And because we have new science that talks about it, and the spiritual experience, and the beautiful thing about the human family is, I'm going to just say something I have to say honestly. I've never been a fan of this "May Peace Prevail on Earth" campaign. The reason being is that if peace didn't already prevail on Earth, we would have been gone a long time ago. Peace absolutely prevails on Earth already. We don't have to say may it, because if literally the hugely vast majority of humanity lives in peace, cooperates, interacts in a good way. And so the distortions have been kind of infused into us, and you see some of that playing out, but fundamentally that's not our human nature, and we know that. And so it's this kind of a, tug and pull kind of thing going on now, but I don't think that's going to last too much longer, because it's not sustainable, and the distorted part is just becoming too transparent to everybody. So and the harmonious part is also becoming transparent at the same time.
While I have the spotlight on you, Marshall, here's a complex question, so good luck with it. This is page 1, and they ask, can you speak more about the phi boundary condition, and how, or if it's related to the significance that Nassim talks about of the surface to volume ratio of a sphere, especially in a PSU sphere? And there's more. Does that explain the fundamental why of quantum physics being quantized in nature? I wonder if this all ties into why we experience ourselves as separate when we are actually all one.
Well, Paige, that's that's a highly kind of technical question to try to go into in this context. My concern is that most people here would have no idea what I'm talking about. And I don't necessarily want to take up the time on such a somewhat esoteric physics question. Let me just see if I can generalize it, though. In my book, I write about this 5-boundary condition, which I discovered in my playing around with the geometry. The golden ratio spiral, you see it in nature. And when you take one spiral and then you duplicate it and repeat it and go around like this circle appears just like what's behind Nama. I'm seeing you, I'm not seeing myself, so that's good. You get this circle, and that is a boundary condition. So it's a natural phenomenon that creates a boundary of inner and outer, but it's not a division, it's just a condition, a boundary condition. And that's what nature does. To create resonance, you must have a bounded condition that holds the resonance. And outside of that, it extends and radiates, and then you've got the rest of the universal, stuff going on. In terms of the question regarding Nassim's physics, yes, I think it is very much related to what Paige is referring to, and I'm not going to try to describe that right now. It's too complex and too kind of deep into the physics. But I do think it is, yes, the same phenomenon of a boundary condition related to the golden ratio, and in that case, the scale of a proton. And as to whether this is fundamental to the quantized nature, I would say it's related to the idea of a particle wave, and a particle wave is one thing, and there, so you could think of this boundary condition as creating the idea of a particle that is made up of a dynamic wave interaction. And I'm also not a fan of the idea that the universe is in a waveform until we look at it and then it collapses into a particle. It was a misunderstanding that got adopted by the spiritual community, and it's a little bit, not quite right. But nonetheless, there is a dynamic that I would say, yeah, it is kind of a foundation of, the thing about, last thing I'll say, the thing about quantum physics, when you realize its origin is when, Max Planck and Einstein, they realized that light moves in quanta, called quantum of action, rather than just a continuous stream. It's little packets, quanta. And that's really, it's all it's about. And so light and sound and everything does that. So the whole universe is a quantum phenomenon. And when you get down to this incredibly small scale, at incredibly high speeds of information exchange that go faster than the speed of light ultimately, then you get these phenomenon of, entanglement and telepathy and remote viewing capabilities, because you realize the information is really present entirely at every point. The universal information is present entirely at every point in the universe.
Thank you, Marshall, for handling that so well, taking us into a 2-hour quantum physics class. Karina Angela has her hand up, and I'm eager to hear your thought, your comment, your question, whatever it might be, Karina.
Hello, everybody. The work that you're doing, Marshall and Noah, are just amazing. I'm just so excited about all of it. So thank you so much for your amazing work and what you're bringing to us. So it's just phenomenal. So thank you so much. I did have a quick question. Marshall, you had mentioned earlier that you are bringing harmony to Earth, and I love that. And perhaps you could give a few examples of the how, or is it through the teachings? Is it through your wonderful publication now? Yeah, I would just love to kind of bring it down to a simplistic form, perhaps.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Simplest answer is all of the above.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And when I say that bringing harmony to Earth, is spiritually through our conscious realization of our harmonic nature and how to literally restore a harmonic balance into our emotional bodies, our mental bodies, and physical bodies, and how to bring that into the societal systems, understanding how nature does, beautifully economical, balanced, harmonious exchange, and using that as a model to recreate our societal systems. And then the technologies that are available now and are coming that are based on harmonic science literally bring harmony to the earth, because they are harmonizing technologies. And so a couple of general examples would be, from my perspective, one of the most important things we can do at this time is to take the stress out of the nervous systems of people around the world, of all of us. And, there's a lot of cause of stress in our nervous systems. And when our nervous systems come out of stress, our emotional body gets out of stress, our mental body gets out of stress, our physical body gets out of stress, and we become happier. We become more open to connection and collaboration and cooperation because we're out of stress. Just that alone is very powerful. And there are technologies that use light and sound and scalar and all these, ways and modalities that do that. And obviously comes healing from that as well. And shifts in consciousness, brainwave entrainment is very much tied into that. And then just one other quick example is in agriculture. And there's a company called Upterra that has created a way to structure water. Structured water is when you take beautiful water that comes out of a tap, or in this case, an irrigation pipe in a large commercial agriculture farm, that is not structured properly, not natural in its molecular structure. And then you structure it so that it's harmonized again. And so they came up with a way to do that at agricultural irrigation flow rates to structure the water. And then they also figured out a way using the quantum field knowledge that and the frequency that they can imprint the water with energy frequency signatures of nutrients and pesticides and things like that. And the water carries it into the farm, into the soil, into the plants, and everything recognizes it for what it is, its frequencies and energetic signatures. And so it's basically bypassing the need for the chemical inputs, which are very toxic ultimately. And then they actually have a way of, through entanglement, to be able to monitor the state of the field remotely and send these frequencies remotely. And they have like 3 to 4 years of large scale farm field tests, and the results are fantastic. Water use.
Wait, so are you working with Roland? Are you working with him?
Well, in the journal, Harmonic Science Perspectives, I have an application showcase, and Upterra is the showcased application in there. So Roland and Shiv Tiwari, he wrote the article. He's their chief technology officer or chief science officer.
I've had a couple of connections with him. So,
Awesome.
When you said the name, I'm like, wait, what? I didn't know that.
No, it's fantastic. And so it's just a great, that's the right spelling, Upterra. Somebody just had it in the chat. It's just a great example of the potential that's already here. And that's just a little indication of what's to come.
Wonderful.
To bring harmony to earth, literally.
There you go. Yeah. Awesome.
I'm going to leave you both up and bring up our other experts here. And I'm going to bring up Kat Lewis because we've got some wonderful questions coming in from the audience. And since I just brought up Kat, she wrote something very beautiful to Jeffree. She wrote, "The masters say the key to the kingdom is childlike innocence, and the purpose of existence is to extend God's love." And yes, I agree, Kat. Reverend Jeffree has definitely mastered both of
Yeah.
those elements. He totally has that going on. Where are you, Jeffree? I'm trying to find you to bring you up as well.
Bring him up. I see him waving.
Yep, there he is. Well, our beloved Tatiana Speed's mother, who's also a brilliantly talented musical artist and author, has a great question. And let me go back and see if I can find it. She asks, are there different fields that perform particular functions also present within the unified field? For example, the creative field, the sacred feminine field. Could you please speak to that? That's a beautiful question. So anybody want to tackle that?
Kat, you want to chime in
No.
on that? No? Yeah, I just want to welcome you.
I'll take a shot. Then I would say, of course, yes, just like there are different fields or systems in the body, you may have different functions, a nervous system, immune system, even smaller cellular networks and molecular networks. I think that the universe operates similar to that scale, but it's all interacting and interrelated. And with what I get into in the physics of spirit is, of course, you lay the groundwork of the physics of how that could be mechanically and scientifically. But you can, and I think what we'll do in the future as a planet is, and talk about this in this way, is I extrapolate to the concept of archangels and angelic type forces or creative forces, even elemental forces. I think all of those are some type of field in the universe that they interact to create a dynamic in which this wave interference pattern, we come out of that and everything comes out of that. But I think there are larger scale fields that we've always worshipped in a way, or think of them now that people have thought of them as deities, but that probably wasn't how it was thought of in the past. They were probably seen as these nested fractals, either bigger in scale or smaller in scale or quantum. Even when you go to the ironic thing is when you go to the quantum, you end up in a field bigger than anything you could imagine. So it's actually, when you understand it in a way, it's not getting smaller, but there's many fields nested within other fields, I would say.
Yeah, I would expand on that to say, yes, absolutely. These are all fields, and the kind of most important thing when you understand the physics is you realize there's really only one thing going on, and it's just different expressions, and just in the most kind of physics kind of oriented way of seeing it. Gravity, the electromagnetic force, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force are just behaviors of the same energetic field phenomenon. They're just characteristic behaviors. And so, to Tatiana's mom's question, these are all different qualitative characteristics of the same field phenomenon. And it's important, and this is the part of this awakening time we're in, is we realize this truth. And it fundamentally, changes our perception, in that it eliminates the idea of different separation and difference that is coming from a false paradigm of understanding to realizing that, again, these are boundary conditions and they're qualitative uniquenesses rather than and differences, but they're the beautiful attributes of how the universe creates diversity of phenomenon to manifest, and yet it's all the same thing, one thing going on.
We have a very interesting question from one of our Facebook viewers. Rachel asks, do you believe in the bifurcation? And is there anything within quantum physics or your understanding of science, spirituality that would help you or help us to believe it? I'm kind of paraphrasing her question.
So the bifurcation of the human experience is what I'm guessing, the bifurcation.
I'm guessing, I mean, there's a popular theory that
timeline.
Yeah, people, some people that are still wanting us versus them are going to one timeline, and those of us that are on this show are going to go into the rainbows and unicorns timeline.
Yeah, the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics supports that.
Can you address what you know or understand about that?
Yeah, so you can think of it like a film strip, right? So on a film strip, all the frames of reality are there, together, simultaneously, right? So all frames of reality exist presently. And what we experience is just what we're tuned into. So our experience is just a series of frames, just like a movie strip. When we're watching a movie film, it's you don't see that there's different frames. It just it's just continuous. And what's happening in our reality is we are rendering our experience every billionth of a second, like the Planck time is how fast your movie is updating in front of you. But all things exist now. It's not a collapse of the wave function. It's just a tuning of, what you believe and how you feel is going to determine your vibration, which will then determine which frame renders next.
Exactly. So technically, nothing does ever split. It's simply the focus of the now, of what is the consciousness or the coherence experiencing now. That will always generate. I would always say the only thing that exists is the now. And if there is all versions, all the information is present, and it is possible to experience any version. But if the consciousness is in the now of your experience, that is what the focus is, I would say. But not a true defined split, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and the way I would speak to this is that the universe evolves, and that phenomena of evolution happens across all sorts of time scales from our frame of reference, how we measure and see time. And there's an inevitable change in the evolving process. And systems within the universe, apparently other than protons, which apparently last forever, which is quite fascinating, which literally tells us that people don't know that the so-called half-life of a proton, which makes up everything in the universe, is estimated at 10 to the 35 years, which is vastly beyond the age of the universe by orders of magnitude. That's literally in physics. Like, well, we think it might have a half-life of that, which means they're eternal, which is very interesting relative to this question. But in the relative universe that manifests from it, the evolution will come into creation in resonance and coherence, and then at some point the energy can't sustain, and it will basically fall apart. And in the context of this question, I would say we're experiencing that phenomenon happening in the human world here, and that there's a falling apart happening. And at the same time, there's a rising up and a new resonating coherent field coming in. And that looks like a split. And in some ways, if we want to call it a split, I welcome it, because we don't want to see that. We want to see that fall apart and go away as quickly as possible. Or let's say in right timing, because I can't predict and wish that it would happen any quicker than universal processes would have in right timing.
Beautiful. Well, I think what I'm going to do is we'll close this part with each of you offering a final thought. Reverend Jeffree, we'll have you go first as our birthday boy. What's your final thought for the night before we close out?
Well, this is amazing. I think that by embodying the love that we all are, and shining our light, that's what I look forward to doing for the next year. Just keep shining that light and twinkling away, and Loveolution is the process, and resistance is futile. The universe is going in that direction, and let's get on board and just enjoy and have fun doing this. I mean, we got it. If your spiritual path is not having fun, you're on the wrong path. So.
Beautiful. All right. Nama, what's your final thought for the night?
I'd like to say thank you. And then also to remember that we're all a part of the same system, the same existence, the same substance made out of the same thing. And we're all part of the same wave pattern that's moving. And we may sound like it's separated at certain times, but it, like Marshall was saying, it's all one thing. And we can all connect there and bring this information out individually in our own ways. And it will come through you as long as you just let go of the resistance, and we'll all be on the same wavelength. And
beautiful. Beautiful. Marshall?
Yeah, thank you for having me on tonight. And I love being here with everybody. I'd love to come back and spend more time in this community. And so we are obviously living in this incredibly dynamic time, and it's just amplifying day by day and year by year. And that I just would say, be aware, be awake to what's happening, be smart with the challenging aspects, and yet don't let it overwhelm your mind and your heart and your emotions, even though sometimes it is a bit overwhelming. I'm reminded of Richard Rudd's recommendation when playing with the gene keys is like, spend about 10% of the time on the shadow, and otherwise put your attention on the gift, which is the full expression of that archetype of consciousness. And so, yeah, take about 10% of your time to be aware of what's going on in the world, and put the other 90% on actualizing ourselves into this beautiful, resonating, coherent, harmonious state of being together.
Beautiful. That's so true, Marshall. Thank you. Karina Angela, what would you like to share?
Oh, I'm just so grateful, and I just love you all. And yeah, I'm so excited for the journey that we all are on, and expanding and evolving every day, each and every day, and with our awareness to be more aware of the harmonics around us and in us. I mean, if you just hold your hands to your ears, we are sound. You can hear our heartbeat. You can hear the vibration. You can hear everything, right? So it's everywhere. So to play with it and immerse yourself in it, and to be of it, because we are it, right? We're all connected some way, somehow. And I just think it's marvelous that so much information is coming out in spurts. And it's funny, quanta, it's the burst, it's the downloads, it's the receiving of the information. It's everywhere. So it's bridging the gaps of the time in between, it's just bridging everything together. And that's how we can receive more and more and be more and more. So thank you for all your amazing work, because it's just tremendous and exciting. And happy birthday, Jeffree. Yay!
Yeah. And Dr. Kat, what final thought would you like to share?
So in Kundalini yoga, there's a saying: if you can't see God in all, then you can't see God at all. And when you study the physics, it becomes very obvious that there's just one field here, and everything you see, all bodies, all form, is coming out of that field. And there's a spark of light in everything you see. Even if you can't see it, it's actually there. Okay. So just everybody has that, regardless of what they're doing. They might not know they have it, but it's there. And it's really up to us what we bring into this world. So if we recognize it, despite what they're doing, then we're all feeding that field, and everybody will wake up. It'll be an exponential rise in consciousness.
Yes, I say yes to that. And our wonderful co-host, Lee, what would you like to conclude with tonight?
This has been amazing and always kind of unexpected things have come up, and the things we've talked to it's really been rejuvenating for me. And what I do in my life is I write and I write. I write novels, I write on Substack, I write. But when I get with this group and we get into the synergy of what we've talked about tonight, there's something that hits the core, from where the words come from, where the expression comes from, regardless of whatever work we're doing in the world, however everybody's life here is expressing. What I really felt tonight, still feel now, is that reverberation of where we're connected. And as Marshall said, there's just one field, and we are that field. And I really felt that coming through the whole night. And it started with the joy of Jeffree's birthday. So I hope just for all of us that we get to feel that joy, like of our birthday, of Jeffree's birthday, everybody's birthday, and all the joy that comes throughout all the chaos that's going on. So just beyond the words that I could find tonight, even though I live with words all the time, all I can say is from my heart to send you in silence so much love and so much joy, and wishing you an incredibly beautiful life.
Here.
Let's all send our Global Peace Tribe love and appreciation to these 6 amazing spiritual, scientific, ever creative, curious beings that are helping to light the way for us to understand how we are all creating an awakening world. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Scott.
And I'm sure all of you will be back on the show hopefully soon. We still have a little bit of show left. We are going to go into our prayer time in a moment. And then we're going to close, as always, with a song from Omashar. Also, want to let people know about our upcoming show Saturday night. We have a great show. We do authors that we love periodically. We've certainly had authors that we love on tonight. Karina, Kat, Lee, Marshall, Nama. I mean, you're all authors that we love. Anyway, Saturday night, we've got a great group. We've got Elizabeth April, who's amazing, who remote views what's going on in the world and always offers unique perspectives. Samantha Sweetwater has written a very important book. Katrina Valancourt with her Love Smart cards. Deborah Giusti will be making a big announcement about a brand new publication that she is shepherding. Isabelita Papa is a dear friend of mine, and she's got a book, 2 books on Qigong, and T.J. Woodward, brilliant coach. You remember him. He's been on the show many times with his book, The Conscious Trilogy, Conscious Recovery, Conscious Being, and Conscious Life. So definitely make sure you join us on Saturday night. And again, for anybody who hasn't joined the Global Peace Tribe, please do it. Go to globalpeacetribe.com and register for the new season, which we're now kind of into. We're in our 3rd week of the new season. So please do join us. I'm going to bring up that dynamic duo, Diara and Desiree, who are going to lead our prayer time. And again, for anybody who's new, this is an opportunity to kind of get us off to a start. And then you can either silently or put in the chat anyone you want to add prayer for. And it can be personal, it can be for you or for, people that you know and love, or it could be for the world. All prayers are equally appreciated here. Take it away, ladies.
Thank you, Scott. Hello, everyone. Whew, so our job is to take this massive amount of experience that we've had together and synthesize it and bring it in and get ready to hand it over to our beloved Omashar. And Desiree and I have been meeting for 3 months, just about every morning. Actually, it'll be 3 months on Friday. And we've been creating this amazing container together. And we started with harmonizing our own energies and getting to know each other and how we work and the frequencies, and have started to open that up. And we've been working on stabilizing the environments and taking all the energies that empaths feel, that we as sensitive beings feel, and bringing that in with the power of the love that we know is true, and the peace and the harmony that is already here and present, and weaving that together. And this morning when we were meeting, we were getting these earth elemental images of fire and ice, and fire, of course, being air and ice being water. So we're going to weave those elements in today to our prayer time, into our gathering, and amplifying what we've created here together tonight with these brilliant, brilliant minds and massive hearts. Hosheme ekisina hasa kotenehe, amashi kata ona si katalana, homishi kina, hosakatana eshikimi, hosweni nashwakina masata, holatene mishwa fina, hosoto amashikina naswatene, hamaswa katashvina aswatenema, hoshoena hasa. Taking the beautiful element of water and washing that through with the love and the peace. And getting ready to hand it over into the fire, balancing, and going to the prayers.
Atakerete suroko bakarete sereka tasarakate suroko de terasirakareto surukate takarakarakare surukarakara. I can feel the passion within you building. Let your fire of love expand. As we wash away all those things that no longer serve you. Expand your joy. Anchor in your love. Slow into peace. As we expand this outward. As we receive peace from the galaxies. Papa Mama's heartbeat can be heard. And she gives you a gift today. A gift to see more. The ability to speak your truth. For the love that you give. Even in your words, expand. Thank you.
And with every prayer that's coming into the chat, we're sending this love and this energy into all that you're requesting. And for those listening through our partners, please do join us. Come in when you can. Blessings to Reverend Jeffree for his birthday. Blessings to all in our tribe. And so it is.
Thank you so much, both of you. I love that you two start your mornings together. It makes me very happy. As we bring up Omashar, I want us to do a special prayer for him. Some of you might have seen it in the chat box, but for those of you who didn't, Omashar is going to be giving a presentation tomorrow, and it's connected to Susan Bloomquist and her wonderful work. And where are you, Omashar? I'm looking everywhere for you. This is the strangest thing. There he is. Okay. He brought himself up. Thank you. So, Omashar, tell us a little bit about the pitch you're going to do to angel investors tomorrow at the ECO conference, and how can we hold the highest vision for you and what you're doing?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Now we can.
You can?
Yes.
Good. I changed mic settings for my musical thingy, but Susan Bloomquist is involved in a company. Well, she's the president and CEO of a company called Sunny Thermal, solarheatedrocks.com. And once a year, there's this green to gold incubated by Professor Alan Tratner event called Super Green Live, and a bunch of angel investors, very wealthy people from around the world, get to pick and choose what eco product gets put out onto the planet that they want to invest in. And I put my hand up to say, I'll do the pitch. And so tomorrow I have 10 minutes in which I present to all of these angel investors this product that hopefully they will invest $3 million in and help us mitigate fuel costs in people's houses. So I guess that's enough for now. Yeah.
Let's all hold. I'm going to bring up Susan for a moment because I actually see her there. So let's just send a maximum grace to Susan, Omashar, and to all involved, Professor Tratner, all involved with Sunny Thermal, and maximum grace and maximum abundance for you both. And may Omashar be a clear channel for spirit to flow through tomorrow.
And the other thing is the humanities team. Could you bring that poster up, Scott? Or
I got it right here.
All right. There it is. So Friday and Saturday, from 8 a.m. Pacific till the evening, till the cows come home, I play music at the beginning of this free live online event with Greg Braden and all sorts of Lynn McTaggart and Neil Donald Walsh and a bunch of Susan Giesman, a bunch of amazing presenters. It's a free 2-day event, and I just put the link in the chat box. And to those on Facebook and YouTube who are watching, it's humanitiesteam.com, and you can register for free there. So that's the other plug I have tonight. Scott and everybody, thank you. And one more thing that I'm going to say before I play the song Come Back and Play is that I was in Japan a year and a half ago at the Goy Foundation, and I was playing at a peace concert there, and the founder of the Goy Foundation, Masahisa Goy, was the person that started putting out the peace polls, May Peace Prevail on Earth. However, I bring this up because Marshall mentioned it earlier, and I was speaking to one of the granddaughters of Masahisa Goy, and she said that when he first intuited May Peace Prevail on Earth, that wasn't the first thing that came to him. The first thing that came to him was peace is on Earth now. And he didn't think that the human population was ready for that yet, and so they watered it down into May Peace Prevail on Earth. So I just thought that was an interesting insert, and Marshall, thank you for bringing that up, because it's a profound organization, but it was founded on that. Peace is already here now, however, it's proliferated into almost 500,000 peace polls around the world. So there we go. All right, I'm going to change my mic source. No, I've done that. I'm going to put myself into a cave. And here we go. Almost. Got to get my lyrics, my cheat sheets. All right, Desiree. In the beginning when we were one, life was fun. The human race had just begun. When you were children you laughed and played in the sun. So tell me now, where have you gone? Come back and play with the divine. You're part of me, walking through time. I didn't leave you in the dark. You are the jewel in my heart. We could never be apart. Oh. Yearn for you endlessly, a field of dreams in between. You are the children of the sun, all of you. The world awaits your point of view. So come back and play with the divine. You're part of me, walking through time. I didn't leave you in the dark. You are the jewel in my heart. We could never be apart. Oh.
Beautiful. Perfect song as always.
Ah.
Send lots of love and appreciation to Omashar, Desiree, and the Global Peace Tribe dance team.
Yeah, and what an amazing guest we had tonight. And it's amazing. We've done the whole universe in 2 3/4 hours.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I know I've noticed that in the chat box, there's been, of course, a lot of comment about the Buddhist monks. Well, Becky Suzek, who many of you know, is part of the welcome committee for the monks who are arriving in Raleigh, North Carolina this weekend. There's very severe weather planned, but they're still putting together things. And Becky, I just got word she's going to join us on Saturday night to let us know about her experiences with the Buddhist monks. And weather permitting, she's hosting an event with them on Sunday morning, and we'll learn all about that on Saturday night. So I thought that's kind of a fun thing to close with. Again, thank you, Lee, for co-hosting. Thank you, Reverend Jeffree, for having a birthday and for being really the inspiration for tonight's show. Of course, thank you to Nama, Marshall, Karina, Kat, and our Global Peace Tribe audience. Have a beautiful few days. Remember what Kat said, let's see the divine in all. What was it? If you can't see the divine in all, you're not seeing the divine at all. I agree with that. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful few days, and we'll see you on Saturday night, I hope. Go to Gallery View to say goodnight.